Are you thinking about selling your house here in Lake Norman, but you're curious who's actually buying and selling right now in this market? Well, over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly who's buying and selling homes in this market and what that means for you. Also, if you drop me a line below, I'll reach out, give you a link to get your current home value and a market analysis for your home. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Wendy Atherton, and I have helped sellers just like you get their home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time and with the least amount of hassle. In every video from me, you'll get at least one strategy or tactic that you can implement specific to your circumstances. So let's just dig into the data and talk about what this could mean for you and how you might position yourself to be successful in this market. So first-time home buyers are making up about 32% of the market. Now that's up from 26% last year, but that's still well below the average that we've typically seen, which has been about 38%. And so the reason that's happening, one of the big reasons, is because a lot of the folks who own the homes that a first-time buyer would buy aren't selling them because they're sitting on a really low interest rate. So it's kind of put a little bit of a stalemate in the market in that regard. And then of course, the other part of it is that, prices went up, interest rates went up, and some of these first-time buyers are kind of having to, sort of refresh themselves and reevaluate what they can afford. And they may find that now they need to be able to bring more money to the table or wait a little bit to be able to afford the home because prices have increased and rates have increased. So if you are a homeowner of a home that would be a target, like I'm going to say up to like the 500s, right? If you're sitting on a home like that, that is a coveted home for a first-time home buyer, and there aren't a whole lot of those on the market because a lot of folks aren't selling right now. Also, the first-time home buyer is 35 years old. That's down just a little bit from last year, but still 35 years old. And the repeat buyer also dropped 1 year in age. So the average repeat home buyer is 58 years old. 59% of buyers are married couples. And that is a really, really low share of married couples. We're seeing a lot more single people buying homes than previously. Which may influence the types of homes or the layout of a home that's desired by a buyer. 70% of recent buyers did not have a child under the age of 18 in their home, and that's the highest ever on record. And so we're seeing a lot of shifts in terms of what is important to buyers, right? So do buyers, if that's the case and 70% of buyers don't have kids under the age of 18, then, we might likely see less of a demand for 4, 5, 6 bedroom homes, right? Because they don't need all those bedrooms, just as an example. Now, 14% of homes that were purchased as a multi-generational home where the buyers needed to be able to take care of aging parents, or they had older adult children moving back in with them or something like that. So that's an interesting statistic. And in terms of the homes that were traded last year or so far year to date this year, 13% have been new construction. We've really been seeing a big uptick in new construction. And a lot of the buyers who are buying new construction are doing that because they want to avoid renovations and they want to avoid potential problems. When the market was really, really hot, I think a lot of buyers got a little bit of heartburn because they bought homes that maybe needed more work than they really wanted to do, or they got into a home and found out that there were things that weren't great that they had to repair. And, I think with the market having cooled off compared to that, I think we're seeing buyers step back and go, you know what, I don't want problems. So if you are selling your home, one of the things that I do recommend is make sure that you're addressing the things that you know about. So, minor repairs, cosmetic repairs, those are all good things to take care of because buyers are a lot more particular than they were even just a couple of years ago. Detached homes continue to be the most common home type at 79%. One thing that's really interesting is senior-related housing has increased this year to 19% from 7% just last year. So we're really seeing an uptick. And a lot of the sales in that segment, 17% are condos, 12% are townhomes. And so we think that will just continue to go up. And we see that around here in terms of development initiatives around the lake. We're seeing a lot of 55 and over communities and a lot of projects that are related to senior housing. Another interesting thing is where buyers are moving. So at one point during COVID, the median distance between where a buyer moved from and where they moved to was like 50 miles. And a lot of that was attributed to the fact that people could work remote. So we saw buyers leaving states and relocating. We're seeing a lot less of that now. The median distance is 20 miles. So, we see a lot of people that are making moves locally. We still are a very big second home market here at the lake, and we do have a lot of people relocating in as well. But that statistic did come down. For buyers, 60% of buyers cited the quality of the neighborhood as the most important factor in determining the location. And also convenience to friends and family and overall affordability were like the top things. And, if you think about buyers believe that they're going to stay in these homes on average for 15 years. 22% of them said they were never going to move again. And then not surprising, the majority of buyers are starting the process to look for a home online. So online exposure, really having a strong online marketing plan for homes is key. It's like 89% of people are starting online. The average buyer takes 10 weeks to go through the buying process and find a home and actually get under contract. Now, some of the data here, a median of 7 homes buyers are looking at. That's probably pretty true. And this says that they viewed, NAR says that on average they're looking at 4 homes only online, which that number seemed a little low to me. So, at the end of the day, buyers are using the internet to start the search process, and 89% of buyers are using a real estate agent to help them still. So none of that really changed very much. We see about 80% of buyers financing. That was up a little bit from last year. Typical down payment for first-time buyers is averaging 8%. That was pretty much flat comparatively. And buyers say the biggest challenge in the process for first-time buyers is just saving up that down payment, which just is not a surprise. And that buyers overall still believe that purchasing a home is a good investment, at 82% who believe that. Now, the typical home seller right now is 60. And for most sellers, most sellers were saying that their primary reason to sell was either to be closer to friends or family, or because the home was too small, or because they had a family change that happened. Now, the typical seller's been in their home for 10 years prior to selling the home, and that's actually bounced up a little bit. At one point, it was down to like 7 years. 39% of sellers traded up to a bigger home. 33% traded down to a smaller home. So, and here we are again. This is part of the reason why we're in sort of a stalemate right now, because there's a lot of people out there, and maybe you're one of them, who would like to upsize to a bigger home, but you also don't want to lose your really awesome low interest rate to do that. So we we hear that often. And so again, that just puts a big strain on inventory, because those homes aren't coming onto the market for those people who want to make a change. And so that's pretty much it. I think, some interesting dynamics here. Overall, we see less interest from buyers of taking on projects. And we see buyers more selective right now about, the age of systems, the quality of the home. They don't want to get stuck in a situation where they're going to get, surprised with a great big repair down the road. So that's pretty much the data. Buyers are still buying, sellers are still selling. There's just a lot less of both. If you drop me a line below, I'll reach out, I'll get you a link so we can get you the current value of your home and a market analysis.